All right, folks, let's get started.
In front of that microphone.
Right. Thank you, everybody, for being here, both here and online. Would you all join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you very much. Call this meeting to order, May 19th, 2022, the Board of Aldermen's meeting. Roll call, please.
Alderman Becker.
Here.
Alderman Ross.
Here.
Alderman Schuman.
Here.
Alderman Rose. Here. Alderman Osage.
No, they weren't.
Oh, sorry.
Make sure they're on.
Are all off too, so I was going to say you might check.
Push your red button.
Test. Oh, okay, good.
Okay, Alderman Osteen is not here yet. Okay, Alderman Rucker,
Here.
Mayor Harmison.
Here. All right, thank you. First thing on the agenda is mayor's communications, no communications. However, I'm going to take the opportunity at this time to present an award to Gina Woods. This will be my first award, so I'm proud to announce it's for a certificate of service. The City of Osage Beach wishes to acknowledge 20 years of service, Gina L. Woods, in sincere appreciation and dedication of service to the citizens and employees of the City of Osage Beach. Signed, Michael Harmison, citizen, City of Osage Beach, Missouri, Mayor. She's going to get this plaque and also this pendant for 20 years of service. And Mr. Welty's going to be kind enough. She's been looking forward to this all day today. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin.
All right. Next on the agenda is citizens' communications. This is the time set aside on the agenda for citizens and visitors to address the mayor and board on any topics that is not a public hearing. For those here in person, speakers will be restricted to 3 minutes unless otherwise permitted. Minutes may not be donated or transferred from one speaker to another. Visitors attending online are listen-only mode. Any questions or comments for the mayor or the board may be sent to the city clerk at berreth@osagebeach.org no later than 10 o'clock on the board meetings day. First and third Thursday of each month, submitted questions and comments may be read during the citizens communications section of the agenda. The Board of Aldermen will not take any action on any item not listed on the agenda, nor will it respond to questions, although staff may be directed to respond at a later time. The mayor and the Board of Aldermen welcome and value input and feedback from the public. And with that said, we have ordered, I said this last meeting, we have ordered a clock. We're going to stick to the 3-minute time rule. During the campaign trail, it was helpful for the candidates and the boards, the community to know when their 3 minutes were up. So until then, Gina's going to be keeping the 3-minute, and we're going to stick to that as we do each week. So with that being said, is there anyone here in person that would like to address the board? If so, would you please sign in? Good evening.
Good evening.
All right, 3 minutes, please.
All right, I have a few things. I heard we're extending some more sewer lines and city water outside the city limits area. That's a concern, considering the mess that we're in with Pantera. And I'm wondering, have we exhausted all the legal means of getting out of that deal with Pantera instead of getting caught up in another multi-million-dollar fiasco over there? Since that property has changed hands and the land deeds have been changed, altered, how much responsibility do we still have for that deal that was originally cut back in the 80s, apparently? That's a concern. Then the other concern I have is there's a rumor going around that the city may have to raise personal property taxes to fund certain things here in the city because we lost a lot of income from the businesses that have left town. And we don't have sustainable means of keeping the money flowing in. I'd like to have have that addressed as well. I think that'll be enough for tonight.
All right. Thank you very much. Is there anybody else that would like to address the board? All right. If you would, please sign in if you've not already, and state your name, please.
My name is Stacy, and I am from Target. I am the asset protection there, and I am here to...
Could you stand over in front of the mic, please?
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm here to support the careless and imprudent issue that we're having in our parking lot. It has become a large problem with the young people congregating in our parking lot doing donuts. And it doesn't seem as though the problem's been taken care of because it's on private property. I know that Andy Pruitt supports this as well because, I mean, we have guests coming in and leaving. It's a danger. So I just would like your guys' support as well.
All right. Well, thank you. I do know right before this meeting tonight, Officer Davis forwarded the email that was sent from Target to the Pruitts to here, and it is on the agenda tonight for discussion towards the end, if you can stick around.
Okay, yeah, I will. I've got quite a few emails here as well.
All right.
If you'd like to see them.
Certainly, if you'd like to leave anything, we'll take a look.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Is there anybody else who would like to address the board?
Mike,
All right.
Mike, is that mic turned on? Thank you.
All right, we're going to start with unfinished business. Bill 22-23, this is a second reading. Yes, sir.
We didn't do the approval of the consent.
I'm so sorry. Thank you, Mr. Rucker. Alderman Rucker. Still learning this, folks. Been 2 meetings down. I'll get better. Approval for the consent agenda. If the board desires, the consent agenda may be approved. The minutes of the Alderman meeting May 5th, the bills list from May 19th, and the liquor license, if they are all in order.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Alderman Morose. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion to approve.
Alderman Rucker.
Second.
Second, Alderman Morose. Thank you very much. Do all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? All right. Motion consent agenda approved. Now I can move on, right?
Yeah.
All right. Unfinished business, Bill 22-23, an ordinance of the City of Osage Beach, Missouri, amending Chapter 125, Human Resource Systems Personnel Rules and Regulations, and the policies associated with Chapter 125, Section 125.050.G.3, tuition reimbursement. Cindy Lay, please.
Yes, Mayor and members of the board, I don't have anything to add from the first reading that we had this. If there's any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
Do we have any questions from the board regarding the second reading? If there's no questions, do I have a motion to approve second reading?
Motion approved.
Alderman Ross, do I have a second?
Second.
Alderman Rucker. Roll call, please.
Alderman Rucker,
Yes.
Alderman Morose,
Yes.
Alderman Becker,
Yes.
Alderman Ross,
Yes.
Alderman Osteen, Alderman Schuman.
Yes.
All right. Second reading passes. Next bill, unfinished business, Bill 22-24, second reading, an ordinance of the City of Osage Beach, Missouri, amending Chapter 125, Human Resource System Personnel, Rules and Regulations and Policies associated with Chapter 125, Section 125.050.G.4, Education Incentive. Cindy Lay again, please.
Yes, Mayor and members of the board, I don't have anything to add to this one either. If there's any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Do I have a motion to approve second reading?
So moved.
Alderman Morose, do I have a second?
Second.
Alderman Schuman. Roll call, please.
Alderman Schuman,
Yes.
Alderman Rucker,
Yes.
Alderman Morose,
Yes.
Alderman Becker,
Yes.
Alderman Ross,
Yes.
Alderman Osteen.
Second reading passes. Moving on to our last item of unfinished business, Bill 22-30, An ordinance of the City of Osage Beach, Missouri, amending ordinance number 21-78, adopting the 2022 annual budget, transfer of funds for necessary expenditures for water repair of systems. This is a second reading. Gina Woods, please.
I don't have any further comments, but I'll entertain any questions.
Any comments or questions from the board? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve second reading?
So moved.
Alderman Becker, do I have a second?
Second.
Alderman Rucker. Roll call, please.
Alderman Morose,
Yes.
Alderman Becker, Alderman Ross,
Yes.
Alderman Osteen, Alderman Schuman,
Yes.
Alderman Rucker.
Yes.
Second reading passes. All right, moving on to new business. First item of new business is Bill 22-32, an ordinance of the City of Osage Beach, Missouri, authorizing the expenditure of funds for the Lake of the Ozarks Convention and Visitors Bureau Guinness Book of World Record attempt at the largest boat parade event to support requests in the amount not to exceed $2,000. This is the first reading. Gina Woods, please.
Yes, Mayor, members of the board. This is the first reading of a request to approve the boat parade. I'm going to shorten the title since the mayor already read it. Their request is for $2,000. The application, budget, and supporting documents are enclosed. I do apologize, one error on my budget line information. The request is for $2,000. And Heather Brown with the CVB and Legina with TCLA are both here if you have any questions for the applicant.
Do we have any comments or questions from the board for the applicant? Heather, if you don't mind signing in, please.
Yep.
Alderman Rucker.
I have a little problem with the budget. Let me get my notes here, get them squared away. Well, before I get to that, my first question is, one of the questions we ask is, how will the proceeds of the event be used? And it just says event expenses, marketing, cost of supplies, insurance. What about if
Yes.
there is a profit?
Okay, if there is a profit, we're actually donating all excess funds to Water Safety Council. And so we agreed to put that all towards that charity, especially because they are involved with helping us with all the safety boats at no
problem.
cost.
No problem. I guess I'm a little confused on the budget. Under the revenue section, you have large boat parade adjutant. I guess that's the, I don't know.
Basically the adjudicator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know the right terminology or
That's
the right
okay.
word, and I'm
Yeah.
terrible on pronouncing. But anyway, yes. And you have it budgeted for $18,000, and it's going to actually cost you $15,000.
Yeah,
That-
so it's actually, it's actually for marketing. That's the amount. It is 10,000.
Well,
Legina deals with the adjudicator. So there's a lot of cost with them. So you have marketing costs that they require you to pay to use the Guinness logo, but then you also have to pay to bring the adjudicator here. So once you pay to bring the adjudicator here, then that secures that you will get a yes or no that you beat the world record.
Right.
And then in order to use their logo or to say that you're trying to break the Guinness World Record and any email marketing or any marketing, then that costs additional funds. Do you have anything to add, Legina?
Yes, Alderman Rucker, that is the 18,000. There's 15,000 that you have to give just to get the adjudicator here. Again, fancy word for judge. And the other 3,000 is because we have to pay travel and provide lodging and food and et cetera. So that's why the 18 is on there.
Okay, well then, follow through to me with the expense. Because on the expense side, you have $18,000 on the expense, and then you have $15,000 on the expense. So you have, so is it costing $33,000?
Yes. So 15 is to get the adjudicator here, 3 for travel, which we don't have those expenses in yet because the event hasn't happened. Then you have an additional 15,000 for the use of the logo, marketing, and all of that.
Okay,
So you're correct.
okay.
It's a lot of money.
I just didn't follow it
It's crazy.
through, and I
Yes.
just was actually hoping there was a mistake and you didn't need as
No.
much money.
I really wish there was.
We would wish that too, yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
No,
I just,
and so we're bringing in sponsorships daily. The registration fee will be a revenue source as well. And then we have merchandise that we sell, which we did attempt this last year, and we only had 3 weeks to promote it. And we actually came surprisingly close, but didn't break the world record. And our adjudicator at the time said that's pretty common of an event of that size not to break it your first attempt. And he strongly said, you guys came pretty close. You did all the right things. A lot of our registrations came within 48 hours of the event. So it's a little mind-boggling, but we keep promoting it. We have a lot of great avenues that we're pushing it. So
thank you. I just wanted that clarity.
thank you, guys.
All right, any other questions from the board?
Real quick, from them if I could.
Yep, oh, Heather, they're not done with you.
So, real quick question, how is sign up going so far?
That's just what I was going to
Slow
ask.
and steady.
Slow and steady?
Slow and steady.
Fair enough.
Yep.
But
So
if and we've been on committees together, and one thing
Yes.
that Heather has said too, a big push is during Lake Race, which was a week before. That's where
That's
we get
correct.
a bunch of people
We had
signed up.
quite a few, over 100 registrants just on the weekend before. And I'm not even joking when I say 48 hours, we had 400 to 500 register in that amount of time right before the event. You have to have your boater registration information per Guinness's rule. So there's a lot of documentation you have to have when you register. And so a lot of people aren't down here, or they wait till they come down, they're with their boat where all the registration information's at. So that's why it kind of comes in slow and steady. And with all the rain we've had, it's no surprise we haven't had as many people, so.
And if you don't mind, I'm going to step in here one more
Yeah.
time, just so everybody knows here and online, it's very important that they will not qualify you if you have any political insignia on your boats.
Correct. You
So
can have
this
an
is
American
not
flag.
a political thing whatsoever.
Correct.
So whatever your political affiliation is, don't show it, please, because it won't be counted.
As soon as you go across that finish line, you can pop it up.
Yep.
It's not daring.
I'm surprised you didn't have something in the budget to promote the weatherman to help us.
I know, I really do. We probably should add that, but no, you're absolutely correct. You get a flag, which is a counting measure by the adjudicator. They can see that from the location, and the adjudicator will actually be on Malibu Road. We secured a house there with an amazing tower view, and they're just a great couple. And so we will have them, it's from the 1 mile marker to the 3 mile marker to the 1 mile marker of the glazed arm, and then they will slowly go under that bridge, and it's all going to be no wake from about the 6 mile marker on towards the bridge. So, yes, Miss.
Well, and hopefully there'll be a lot more participating this year, because last year I think it was $50 a boat.
It was.
And this year it's 20, correct?
That's correct. We lowered the price, and then we're getting ready to run some incentives and promos to get people to, with the holiday coming up, we're going to drop the price a little bit. We're going to have some gas cards to say the first so many will get their name in for a gas card. As you know, that's a huge factor that we didn't anticipate going into this year. So we do have some promos that are getting ready to run in the next couple weeks before it happens. So
Super.
thank you.
I have one last comment, not for you, Heather. So I cannot stress enough how neat this could be for the Lake of the Ozarks, folks. The world record. Our little community beating Malaysia, of all places. So point being is, get your boats out. I've had a lot of people say, this is so cool, I want to sit back and watch it. No, film it. You can watch it on film. Get your boats, get your jet ski. It's just neat event. So anyway, any other comments or questions from the board? If not, do I have a motion to approve first reading? Alderman Becker, do I have a second?
Second.
Alderman Rose, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, motion carries. All right. Next, we have Bill 22-33, an ordinance of the City of Osage Beach, Missouri, authorizing the mayor to sign a contract with Don Schneider, I assume I said that right? Excavating Company, Inc., for the Greenwood Circle Drainage Improvements Project for the amount not to exceed $45,679. This is the first reading. Mr. Welty, please.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the board. This project was bid out in early April. The bid opening was on April 26th. The city received 3 bids for the project. The low bid was Don Schneider Excavating, an amount of $45,679. The bid tab is attached, and I have checked their references and found no problems. The water coming off of Greenwood Circle between 1195 and 1201 Greenwood is really starting to become a problem for the drainage ditch that used to be at this location. The water coming off that road is the city's responsibility. This is a budgeted project. The budget for this project was $25,000, so we are significantly over budget. In my conversations with Cochran Engineering, we feel like the costs are still cheaper than what it would cost if either or both of these homes started to have foundation problems, or we started to eat one of their decks or something like this. So we do recommend approval, and myself and Dave are here to answer any questions the board may have about this project. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Welty. Any questions or comments from the board? Alderman Ross.
I will just share one comment of one of the owners. He said he thought 25,000 was way too high, and he can't believe it's 50, but it still needs to be done. So I just thought that's a perspective that I found very interesting. He was over my house the other day. That's all I have. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Any other comments or questions from the board? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve first reading?
Motion to approve.
Alderman Schuman, do I have a second?
Second.
Alderman Ross. All those in favor say aye, please.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, first reading passes. Next item, Bill 22-34, an ordinance of the City of Osage Beach, Missouri, amending ordinance number 21.78, adopting the 2022 annual operating budget, transfer of funds for necessary expenses related to project carryovers from fiscal year 2021. This is the first reading. Gina Woods, please.
Yes, Mayor, members of the board. So primarily, this budget amendment request is to carry over projects that did not get completed as budgeted in the year 2021. Therefore, work was carried over into 2022, with one small exception, I believe, and I've outlined that. So the Lacey Fine Airport project, we didn't get as much done through December 31st, 2021, and then additionally, we've kind of been a little slow. So this is just carrying over both the grant revenue and the project expense corresponding with that project into the 2022 budget. The one exception is the transfer, an additional project expense needed because of the issue that we had brought up that we're correcting through the Lacey Fine project, that oil issue. Because at this time, we do not know when or if other reimbursements, and once that's finalized, we can always reimburse, but because this is over budget because of that issue, we do need to have an additional transfer to subsidize the fund because Lacey Fine is very cash sensitive and it has to stay in positive cash flow. So that does include a slight increase in the transportation fund, which subsidizes projects. However, again, I will reiterate, when and if that problem is solved and we know issues or other reimbursements, depending on where that falls, we will reimburse the transportation fund appropriately. But that could be even next year. Mesa Road project, it got completed early in 2022 instead of 2021. And then the Tantera Estates assessment project, we actually completed it due to some timing issues, but it also has grant money as well.
All right, thank you. Comments or questions from the board? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve first reading?
Motion to approve.
Alderman Rucker, do I have a second?
Second.
Alderman Rose. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, first reading carries. All right, the next one. Motion to approve citizens' appointments by the mayor to the Citizens Advisory Committee and the TIF Commission. I'm going to go ahead and take this first and then turn it over to Alderman Rucker. This was a motion to approve the citizen appointments by myself and to the Citizen Advisory Committee and the TIF Commission. And we had some discussions in my office the other day about what the Osage Beach policies are. So Alderman Rucker, if you don't mind.
Yes, I would like to bring it to the board's attention, and hopefully by consensus, we can move the appointment to the Citizens Advisory Committee, both by the mayor and also the next item on the agenda to the June meeting. The ordinance is clear, that is that June is supposed to be done and not in the May meeting. It was just a mistake that was put on this agenda. So I would hopefully we can just go ahead and just do that by consensus. Is that clear?
Alderman Rucker, if you don't mind, I believe that's only for the advisory committee.
Yes, I'm sorry. That's only the advisory. It is not the
Correct.
TIF. No, it's just a citizen advisory.
So if you don't mind, put that in form of a motion to.
I would like to move that we move both those items on the Citizens Advisory Committee appointment to the June meeting.
I'll second.
All right, if you don't mind, one more thing of discussion before we get there. Also, I believe Alderman Rucker, it specifically states that when we go to the appointment approved by the alderman are also supposed to put their termination date. So when we do that at the next meeting, I would like to add to not only move their appointments, but also appoint their termination date.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. All right. All right, with that being said, if that makes sense. Question?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So one motion has 4 names on it, the other motion has 2. How many open spots do we have?
Okay, on the Citizen Advisory Committee?
Yes, I'm sorry.
We counted 10.
Can I get back to you for sure?
I can answer that.
I said, I
Yeah.
believe there's 4 more.
There's actually 4 that were up for new hire, or for new terms. We've nominated 3 of those. So that left the committee at 8, and it does say 9 to 15, and I have 2 to be appointed. So that would put it 10 now rather than 9 in the past. And the statute is 9 to 15. So that would be 10.
Thank you.
And I think there might be some of the aldermen that may have 1 or 2 other ones too.
So if you
Yes.
don't mind, I think we need to.
We're still under our 15 and
Correct.
over our 9.
Correct. But I think Alderman, Mr. Rucker,
For voice vote of the motion.
yeah, I think we need to vote on the motion to amend, and then we will do a motion on the TIF only. So Alderman Rose had a first. Do I have a second?
I've made the motion, she seconded.
I'm sorry. All right, first and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, now I believe we can move on to a motion to approve the mayor's appointments to the TIF Commission. And you'll see on there, we have Fred Catcutt, Janice Tyler, and Dan Fry. So do I have any questions or concerns? Yes, sir.
Just want to make sure that the minutes so reflect those 3 and the dates, because we have not been doing a good job in years past of putting the dates that their term expires.
I can give you the names,
Are
yes.
they in the,
Yes.
okay.
Just so we,
God
I
bless you.
just want to make sure we just,
Very
going
good.
forward.
All right, do I have a motion to approve those 3 members to the TIF Commission?
So moved.
Alderman Rucker, do I have a second?
Second.
Alderman Rose. Thank you, folks. Hope that's crystal clear. Oh, I'm sorry, let's do that. Let's vote on that, all right? All those in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right. That one,
Was there was there a separate one for just the TIF?
yes.
I got that. I did it.
Yes, yep. All right, the next one is the same scenario with the motion to approve citizen appointments by the Alderman Rucker and Alderman Osteen to the Citizen Advisory Committee. Would you like to make the same motion on this one,
Yes, sir.
Alderman
I'd like to
Rucker?
make a motion to postpone this till the June meeting, so as it complies with the ordinance for appointments to be done in June.
Very good. Any questions or comments on that motion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
We needed a second.
Oh, let's do that. My goodness.
It's unanimous consent.
That's fine, as long as we.
Second one, Alderman Ross, there we go.
Thank gosh.
Got it?
All right. Motion carries. All right. Now we got that done. Next, we have a motion to approve the city administrator to terminate the city's investment service contract with First Bank, formerly Providence Bank. Gina Woods, please.
Yes, Mayor, members of the board, and Carrie, you fill in the end if I miss any points. So back in 2019, we updated our investment policy to the board, kind of outlined more parameters, meeting with state statute, in the intent that we were going to separate out banking operations with banking investment. And that happened in June 2022. As a result, the award was given to Providence Bank, which is now First Mid Bank, for both operation and investing. So what we are recommending to terminate is the investment side. Given, currently the environment that we're in, we believe that more opportunity or a diversity of opportunities are out there and not be tied to one contract, so we can kind of readdress our strategy. And we are required by contract to give them a 90-day notice. I'd like approval to send that tomorrow. That'll give us time to update you all on, what changes that we will be making or need your, input on, so we can cross that bridge then. But I am asking to open up our opportunities to cancel the investment side. I did include our investment policy, even though this is not really what we're asking to vote on tonight, but I did include the policy in there that when we changed that. So Carrie or I will entertain any questions that you may have.
All right, questions or comments from the board? Alderman Rucker. I'm sorry, guys, I'll get this down. Okay.
Are we just not getting as good a rate as we think we should?
Yes, we are not. No, we are not. Yes, that's correct. No, we are not.
Thank you, Alderman Becker.
I'd just also like to comment that this is something that I know was not decided just in a very short window. Carrie and I have been visiting for quite some time, and I know prior to that, she has been keeping an eye on it for quite some time. So it's something that there's a track record there that just isn't good, and we need to see what we can do to move forward.
All right. Thank you. Any other questions or comments? If not, do I have a motion? Do I have a first?
So moved.
Alderman Ross. Do I have a second?
Second.
Alderman Ross. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, motion carries. Next, we have a motion to approve the continuation of a cooperation marketing partnership with Central Missouri's Lake of the Ozarks Tri-County Lodging Association to run from July 1st, 2022 through June 30th, 2023 to the amount not to exceed $25,000. Gina Woods, please.
Yes, Mayor, members of the board. So Legina is here to give some details on that, but in your packet, we're requesting if you would like to continue this marketing partnership, which we've had with TCLA for a few years. We're not asking to increase or change the amount. Last year, you guys voted on 4 main points, and Legina's given you a few more options in the packet if you want to stay with what we are doing when it comes to the SEM retargeting, print ad, billboards, and of course the landing page is already created, but I'm sure that keeps that up. Also, she included the quarterly report, which since then I've been kind of emailing you, but we've done it. So I'm really going to turn it over to Legina because she can explain the options and answer any of your questions.
All right, Legina.
If I can, I brought backup with me. So, no, thank you guys. Good evening again, and thank you so much for having us on the agenda. And most importantly, thank you for helping us promote tourism at Lake of the Ozarks and the city of Osage Beach. So Heather is here, who's already been up here, who is the executive director of the CVB. And then we brought our muscle, Eric Holman, who is our digital marketing manager and our website administrator as well. So Tri-County Lodging, for those of you not familiar, we're the marketing arm of the Lake of the Ozarks. We are the certified destination marketing organization, or in our world, what we call the DMO for the lake, and we work in partnership with the CVB to promote the lake for tourism. I'm not going to go through your packet page by page because I know you don't need me to read that to you, but if you have any questions on any page that I don't talk about, just please let me know. I'll skip over to page 4 just to let you know how we're doing. I included a lodging tax collection history. So I know we run a little bit different budget year than what you guys run. We run a July 1 through June 30th fiscal budget so that we're in line with the state. And so our lodging tax for our last fiscal year, which ended in June 30th, it was our best year ever. I'll just put that. We were 6% up over the next best year previous to that, which was FY19. We're 17% above that through the end of March this year. So we are in line to hit about $2 million in tax collection, lodging tax collection, which will be the first time ever that we've hit $2 million. So things are good, needless to say. The next couple of pages, I included some tourism economic impact. The first page is for the 3 counties because we do work with 3 counties, Camden, Miller, and Morgan. So that just shows you how well we're doing on tourism economic impact, which I know is no surprise to you guys because you guys can align that with your tax collection as well. And the job market as well is looking good. And then the second page is Camden County. I know you guys cover Camden and Miller, but I threw Camden County in there so you can see too. Fiscal 21 over fiscal 20 was up 46 million in tourism impact. The next page after that, you'll see is our marketing spend by percentages. Obviously, we spend heavily in digital world because that's where it happens at. This will shift a little bit. We're still firming up Miller County's marketing allocation. I've been working on the budget the last couple of days, firming it up for approval next week, and we're looking at about 1.1 million in marketing for this next fiscal year. We're dipping our toes in some new water, which we're pretty excited about. We actually got some additional funding for this quarter from the state, so we are now in the TikTok world. TikTok is actually outperforming Google right now. So we're doing TikTok, we're doing some geofencing, we're doing some iHeart, CTV, and we actually, prior to that, we actually dipped our toes in some other new water too that we're moving forward with. We're doing Pandora Radio, YouTube. Again, the streaming is kind of where it's at. So this graph here will change a slight bit once we get Miller's allocations in there, but right now that's kind of the split we're looking at our marketing. Mostly digital, we do print, TV, radio, billboards. We do some marketing intelligence research as well as public relations. Our digital partner is Madden Media. We worked with them for several years and we do some visitor intelligence with them, some research. We're gonna add new this year for this next fiscal year, VisaView, which is basically a credit card. We're gonna be able to track all the data for all of our visitors, see how much money they're spending, where they're spending it, how many days they're staying, et cetera. So we'll have even more market intelligence we can use to make sure we're on the right path and head in the right direction. So I'll skip over to what you really wanna hear, and that just kind of gives you a background. If you jump to page 14, last year.
Excuse me, Legina, let me find their page, so.
Okay.
If you jump to page 119, is that the page?
Yep.
Oh, you
119
guys
of your
have
packet.
different pages.
Well, 'cause
Okay.
our packet's
14 of my packet, 119 yours.
119 in ours.
Thank you, sorry.
You're welcome.
So I mentioned the DMO status. So being the DMO allows us to partner with the Missouri Division of Tourism in what they call matching marketing grant, or we call it co-op. And we are eligible to apply up for $225,000 again this year, which was the same as last year. And that's for July 1 through June 30th. Last year, if you guys recall, they kind of changed the match up a little bit because of the pandemic over the years. So last year they did a 75-25. They're back to the 50-50 match. So $225,000 from us, they'll match it $225,000 for marketing, which turned us into $50,000 in marketing. So we do have to get all that approved. It's quite the process that I have to submit exactly what we're asking the money for. We do digital billboards, a little bit of print, and then we have to approve it. We have to include their logo on all of our marketing. So there's certain stipulations, but we've never had any issues matching in their stipulations. And again, you guys have, in the past several years, I've been in this position for about a year and a half. I've been with the organization for about 12 years. And I know you guys have been partnering with TCLA. Gina, you probably know more than I do. It's been a while. So again, we appreciate
15, 16
it.
maybe is when we
I think
started.
it was prior to my tenure here. So last year I came and talked to you guys and we talked about different options. We presented you guys 4 different options of how that 25 spend could be. It could be all digital. It could be digital, print, billboard. So we gave you guys some options and I included those options again in your packet. Option 1 was splitting the money between SEM and retargeting. We did, as Gina mentioned, last year create a free landing page on funlake.com. FunLake gets 1 million to 1.2 million visitors a year. So you guys are going to get exposure on that page. So we, of course, still have you up there and we'll continue with that. Option number 2, which is the option you guys went with last year, was a little over 12,000 going to SEM, which is search engine marketing, retargeting ads for a little over 8,600. We did a print ad for you and the outdoor guide. That's not co-op, but we co-opted with you, meaning TCLA, and we'll go over those numbers here in a little bit. So we ran, that was a fall issue, we ran a full page ad. And then we said we'd do 2 billboard creatives on 3 of our billboards, 2 in Kansas City, 1 in St. Louis, for August, September, March, and April, but we actually did 3 creatives for you guys. So we ran 3 instead of 2. And then option number 3 was just a different split between the SEM and the retargeting, and then the one print ad and the outdoor guide. And option number 4 was SEM retargeting and the billboards. Again, you guys chose option number 2. is what we did, what we're still doing this past year. And then the next pages are just kind of some of how everything's performing. Search engine marketing is performing really well. The benchmark for click-through rate is 4.5. For Osage Beach, you guys are at 9.9. And when I say benchmark, that's kind of a goal. And that's not a goal we set. It's not a goal Mad Media sets. That's a goal that Google sets for our industry in tourism. So your SEM is performing really well, and that is from July 1 through, I ran this report, I think, on May 11th. So we still have the rest of the year to finish. Some of your keywords, I posted like your top keywords, and on the quarterly reports I've been giving Gina, I've been putting a page on what your top 25 keywords are. I highlighted a couple on your page because I thought it was interesting that the outlet mall spiked up a lot, but we know why that is, right? Because announcing of the sale of it and things going on there. And then some new ones that kind of went up higher a little bit too was RV parks and Osage Beach fishing vacation. And we are currently running a fishing story as part of one of our amplified stories, so I think that's probably why, but I always like to watch that and see what's kind of trending. The page after that is some samples of the retargeting ads. Those are just a couple samples because we run various different sizes with very different creatives on it. We started running that in February, and then again, that'll run through the end of May, so those aren't done running as of yet. On the page after that, you'll see how it's performing. The benchmark for that is 0.1, so you guys are right on target for the Osage Beach. That's 0.11% is where you guys are on the retargeting. And then on the print, we still have the option this coming year to do the outdoor guide. We're actually, since our marketing budget's going to increase a little bit, last year we did 3 ads with them. We're going to do 4 this year, so that's still an option. And we're also going to do, once again, the Midwest Living, the best of the Midwest. So that's an option as well for Osage Beach if you guys want to be in that. The next page shows you the creative that we ran for the fall issue and the outdoor guide as well with, they print 10,500 copies. They send 1,200 out, or mail to subscribers. And on newsstand, they have a 95 to 97% pickup rate. And you'll see the locations that they're handed out. Billboards. I thought I was going to be changing up billboards, but because, like everything else, the cost is going up. And one of our billboards in Kansas City went up substantially. But I got them at the same price. So we were able to work with them. And that was the St. Louis, we got a new one by I-70 by the Mid-Rivers Mall area. That's a pretty high traffic area. I was able to grab that one last year, and we did it because it's one of the busiest interstates, obviously, in the area. And that's a west 370 exit, so it's the westbound lane. And then we have one off of I-44 as well in St. Louis County. Kansas City, the one on the I-35, 1 mile north of Kansas City, that's a right-hand read. It's like if you're going up to the airport, to the plaza, downtown, anything like that. And then Mill Street, that's in Johnson County. So another good area for us. So we are going to continue to run those, and we will co-op those as well with the state. And then you'll see some billboard creative on the next page. We do have Heather and Evan, who is our creative genius guy. They went out this past year and did a lot more pictures. We have some new creative that we're going to use this coming year. We're happy to give those to you guys to approve before we use them for Osage Beach, but we are going to change out some of our creative pictures for this year to keep them fresh. A couple of years ago, actually I guess it was before last year, you guys also partnered with us on Cardinals Radio. We ran 6 radio ads. 2 of them were Osage Beach, and they have 3.3 million listeners, and we did 62 30-second commercials. We are continuing with Cardinals Radio, so that's another option for you guys if you would like to go back with that. So that could be another possibility for you guys too if you want to consider it. And I also already mentioned your landing page, and in 21 we had a little over 1 million views, and we're trending up this year. And then towards the back there, you'll see just a picture of your landing page. We can put anything on this landing page you guys want. If you guys want us to list your events for the year, whatever you guys want on this landing page, Eric can alter that, put whatever on there that you would like. So you guys have any questions? I know I ran through that kind of quick, but a lot of you guys are familiar.
Comments or questions from the board? Alderman Becker.
I'm good keeping what we've been doing.
And that would be option 2, again, page 121 to 124 as the options, but option 2 is, yeah.
Was that was your comment? Okay. Any other comments or questions? Alderman Ross.
I've got some questions. I'm fine with keeping what we're doing, but a few things. When you said the match changed from the Division of Tourism, it went from 75-25, that was their match, is that right? 75-25 yours?
25 was ours, correct.
It went to 50-50.
It went to 50/50, which is what it used to be pre-pandemic.
Did they explain, was it because of pandemic it went up? Is that their explanation for bringing it
Yeah,
back?
they were trying to help out the smaller DMOs that,
Okay.
weren't as blessed as we are to have during the pandemic, we did well, but there's other destinations that couldn't say that. So they did that to help them out. But then I'll tell you what they did is when they got additional funding, they gave that to the larger DMOs like us, and that's what we're using to do TikTok and stuff this quarter. So they kind of gave us that favor back.
So the creative, for example, on the retargeting, is that the same as we used last year? It looks familiar, but I'm not sure.
This is what you guys ran last year.
Okay.
But
So
we
it's at
can
least-
change the pictures, change the creative, because we have new photos that we can use that we took
Okay.
this year.
It sounded like we were doing that on the print media, but I wasn't sure we're doing that on the retargeting.
We can do it on whatever you guys want, and we're going to have a creative meeting here in a couple weeks, and if you guys want me to present Gina with some new pictures for you guys to approve, we're totally fine with that. So you guys just tell me what you would like.
Okay.
We obviously, as you can tell, we focus on the outdoors. 'Cause
Right.
That's
And
what
I
we
think
are,
that's
what we
great.
do.
It looked familiar.
Yes,
and
that's
I'd
what
like
we're
to
running now, what you guys did this past year.
Right. It'd be nice to see some things that look different.
Yeah.
I guess I would say.
We agree.
Don't know if you need any feedback, but if you decide to, I'm around. Click-through rate dropped almost 30% between February and April. Any idea why that would be?
Turning to my muscle. Eric.
I mean, if anything, I would have thought it went up.
I'm assigned Gina.
Went from 0.14 down to 0.09 or 0.1. It's almost a 33% drop.
That could be a budgeting issue or not a budgeting issue, that could be budgeting on our end as well. We in that time frame in February, March, January, February, we tried to get ahead of the tourism, and our vacation guide is out about that time. Our new vacation guide is out at that time, so we hit them pretty hard at that point. And then we will take that money, a little bit of that money away from the SEM, and we'll start using that into the retargeting. So once they've been to our site, we follow them around and serve up the retargeting ads. So we're putting a little bit more money into it at that time to drive the numbers up, so we can follow them around with the actual ads, that March, April, May timeframe.
So let me ask you this, and you may not know, but would this graph, if you will, and how that moved be similar to how it would have moved in previous years? Other than 2020, we'll leave that one out.
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
Because we budget monthly on SEM, and we do it, obviously by time of the year. And like you said, like vacation guides, about October, we start running out of them, so we have to change that up so we can send out more vacation guides in January. So it's just a monthly budget.
And we used to put the bulk of that SEM money, in June and July.
Okay.
Which does not make sense for us because they're already here in June and July. So we moved that to, we will hit like November, December, when families are getting together for the holiday season and planning family trips and things like that. So we'll move the bulk of that money into that time frame all the way through, like I say, January, February, and then we'll kind of drop it off a little bit. We will pick it back up again. I think we picked it back up again in May, if I'm not mistaken, about the time school gets out. But a lot of that is just a drop in our overall budgeting, and we have a graph that goes out over 12 months that we work with Matt, and they kind of assist us with that and give us recommendations, and it flows up and down 2 or 3 times throughout the course of the year, just based on, again, it doesn't make sense to hit heavy traffic time with advertising.
That's fine.
So-
I guess what would help me in the future, and I don't know that you need to do it if you want to send it to me offline or something like, I'd love to see how that works from over the last couple of years compared to how we're tracking, and just see, what the rate of change, if any at all, or if it's just pretty much steady. That would be very interesting to me.
Yeah.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Alderman Rose.
Legina, you mentioned about presenting us with some different pictures. Does that also include for the billboards?
Yeah, for everything. Yeah,
Okay.
so we'll put some new creative options together for you. And we did that last year too. We presented a couple different creative options for you. But again, we have new, fresh stuff that we would like to put out there
Super.
and use, yes.
Okay, thank
We can
you.
do that, Yes.
Any other comments or questions? I have a question. So option 2 would not exceed $25,000, correct?
Correct.
All right, Alderman Becker, would you like to make a motion for 2 not to exceed?
I move that we go with option 2, not to exceed $25,000.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Alderman Rose. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, motion carries.
Thank you guys so much. We greatly appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, next we're going to move on to a motion to approve the purchase of new computer and networking equipment from Technologies for a price not to exceed $72,948.91. Michael Bean, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of the board. This went out to bid on April 4th. It closed on April 27th. We only received one bid, which ended up being from our partners at Forward Slash. I want to note that we did send it out to multiple different IT entities, but only received the one response from Forward Slash. These two servers and switch will replace one of our core switches and also replace multiple of our older virtual desktop environment servers, which have all surpassed their life expectancy. This project is on budget, but I did approach Gina for an administrative budget adjustment to cover the difference on the communication equipment. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them, and I recommend approval.
Comments or questions from the board? Seeing none, do I have a motion, do I have a first? Move for the what? I'm sorry. Motion to approve, sorry. Alderman Becker, second Alderman Schuman. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Sorry, I got a little tongue-tied there. All right. Next, we have a motion to approve purchase of ozone odor control fogging system for lift station CL-005, formerly 53-1, from McIntyre Management Group for a not-to-exceed price of $31,300. Kevin Crooks, please.
Thank you, Mayor and the board. This, check. Thank you, Mayor and the board. This is for the approval. This motion is to approve the fourth and final piece of the non-chemical odor-based control replacement program. This concerns a property at the end of Normandy Road, a residence in an area that were formerly being mitigated by two separate odor control methods. One was a chemical station at Dude Ranch Road, and another was a on-site carbon scrubber. Both of them were found to be essentially not very effective. What this proposed equipment would do would be to similar to SANS, KK37, and the other projects we've done this year, is to utilize ozone, which is trioxygen. It's basically pumped into the wet well on site at the end of Normandy Road, and neutralize the H2S odor using a different methodology with lower reoccurring costs. The not-to-exceed price for this equipment is $31,300, which includes $1,000 for miscellaneous install costs, and I recommend approval.
All right, thank you. Comments or questions from the board? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve? Alderman Morose. Alderman Becker, second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, motion carries. Next, we have a motion to approve the purchase of 500 tons of de-icing salt through a cooperative bid agreement with Horseshoe Bend Special Road District from Hutchison Salt Company for an amount not to exceed $37,325. Mr. Welty, please.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the board. As you know, every year the city submits a cooperative bid for de-icing salt in the spring, and many of the cities in the lake area, always kind of jump onto that and join in our bid process. And we are the facilitators of that cooperative bid. Unfortunately, this year we only received one bid through that cooperative bid process that we facilitated, and that bid was excessively high. And so because of that, I asked Gina to reject that bid in accordance with Ordinance 135.060. And that kind of left us kind of out in the cold for salt, unfortunately. And so we kind of had a couple of options. We could either rebid it or we could search for another cooperative bidding agreement that another city did. And so that's exactly what we did. We did reach out to the Horseshoe Bend Special Road District, and they were kind enough to provide us with their bid documentation on a recent salt bid that they did. That bid documentation was substantially similar to the way we bid it, so it did meet the requirements that are detailed out in our ordinances when we use other cooperative bidding agreements. After that, I reached out to their low bidder, which is Hutchinson Salt, and they were more than happy to offer the same price that they offered Horseshoe Bend Special Road District, which was $33 plus shipping. For us, that will come out to $74.65 per ton, which is significantly lower than the one bid that we received from the company that bid on our cooperative bidding. A little bit unorthodox. We've never really done it this way, but it works. I've attached all the bid documentation from Horseshoe Bend Special Road District, the email that I received from Joe Bingham with Hutchinson Salt, as well as the price plus shipping that he is offering not only to us, but also to all of the entities that were included in our cooperative bid. We have also made all of this information available to all of the cities that were included in our bid, and they will have the same choice themselves to either go with the bid that we rejected or with the cooperative bid that we were able to latch on to here. So with that said, we are looking to purchase 500 tons of salt at a price not to exceed $37,325 from Hutchinson Salt, and I do recommend approval.
All right. Thank you. Comments or questions from the board? Alderman Rose.
Mike, do we have any salt left over from this last winter?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. We have, I think it, Kevin, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's around 400 tons that we have on site right now.
That's correct.
So do we normally purchase, I'd have to go back and look, the 500 tons every year? Is that what we normally buy?
We normally try to stay above 900 tons.
Oh, okay.
We've always in the past have had enough salt to actually get us through two winters, or one bad one.
Okay.
Yeah, this historically is what we've been doing for many years.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions from the board? Do I have a motion to approve first reading?
Motion to approve.
No, excuse me. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Alderman Ross. Do I have a second? Alderman Schuman. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. All right, we have two items for discussion tonight. The first one is a proposed careless and imprudent driving ordinance. Chief Davis, if you will, please.
Mayor and members of the board, as some of you may remember, a few years ago, we proposed a change to our current careless and imprudent driving ordinance to include private property. As you know, that failed because there was several discussions about it and it failed to move on. This proposed change that is different from that proposed change that we previously talked about. This one changes the proposed ordinance to only include private property, but it's private property that's of commercial or industrial establishment. So it's not your private driveway or anything like that. As Stacy mentioned, at Target and Pruitt's Point area, we have had numerous complaints of kids gathering, kids and young adults. It's not just teenagers. Drag racing, doing donuts, stealing property as far as Target signs, property like that. When our officers interact with them, all we can do right now is warn them. We can watch it, stop them, tell them what they're doing is wrong, and our hands are pretty much tied because it's on private property the way our ordinances are wrote. We can address the stealing and harassment, that type of stuff, but we cannot, anything traffic related, we can't unless it's a DWI charge. So we're proposing this ordinance with the addition of the public-private parking lot or parking lot for the use of customers, business invitees, or employees of commercial or industrial establishments to allow us to take care of those issues, handle those issues, issue a summons, take some type of enforcement action other than a warning if needed. It wouldn't be, it is still going to be officer's discretion whether he or she issues the summons, but it gives us another tool in our toolbox to deal with. It's not for us to go out and generate tickets after ticket after ticket, because we would much rather enforce traffic laws on state highways, roadways, city streets than have to sit in a parking lot. But I'm pretty confident that, if we issue a summons or two, it's going to deter the rest of them from doing it once the word gets out that, oh, I'm not just going to get my hand slapped for this anymore. So you've heard from Stacy. We did get a letter from Andy Pruitt. He wasn't available. I've sent that out to the board for those. If I have hard copies, if none of you have that letter. So I wanted to bring it to you all for discussion before we brought the ordinance to the board for approval.
All right. Comments or questions from the board?
Yes.
Alderman Schuman.
I will say I work in an area to where daily I actually have visibility of this area that we're talking about specifically. I know that this would be more broad for the city, but I have seen so many almost accidents, like you said, with the donuts almost hitting the light poles and the revving of the engines. So it is actually, for the businesses around, it's very disruptive too. So I fully support this because I know that this would be something that the businesses would call for. It's not a way for you guys to just go out and write tickets, but it is an area that could lead to further problems of people getting injured. So I think this is a great idea.
Okay. Other members of the board, comments or questions? Alderman Rucker.
I happened to be on the board when this was brought the first time. I was very upset that it didn't proceed and didn't pass, but I do believe, looking back, that there was some of the board members that felt that we were getting into driveways, private people's property, I guess the way to say that, their own personal property or personal backyards, et cetera. Even though I didn't feel that was the intent of what was done then. I supported it then on the public parking lots, and I definitely support it now on the public parking lots.
Thank you. Anyone else? Alderman Ross.
So I think I was here then too, and I think that this is a big improvement, but I still have concerns. And the concern that I have is that I think the businesses or the private property owners need to be part of this solution. Todd and I had this conversation. We have the assets protection lady here, for example, Target. All you got to do is write something, put something in writing that says you're more than welcome to enforce this ordinance. And I'm fine with that, okay? But I'm not fine with making that blanket on all public parking lots in our city. I have no problem with doing this as long as there's some, how would I say, interaction and support of that private business owner for us to enforce this, okay? While I trust all of our officers, their discretion and so forth, I think we need to be invited on. You all may feel different, but I think that we are much better off doing it that way because I think the businesses need to be part of the solution. I do have a question for the assets protection lady. Do you all have security out there? Do you hire security?
I have a GSS, which is security, yes.
Okay, and they work outside versus just your inside shoplifter security?
Yeah, they'll do their rounds in the parking lot as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. It was one thing to, excuse me, enforce traffic type actions. I saw the email that talked about congregations. And while I want to make sure, I don't think we're going down that path. We need to be very cautious that we're not in, how would I say, competition with security firms, okay? And that, businesses that have issues, I've been part of that many times before, do provide their own security. But back to the careless and imprudent driving, I just feel like that this would be better served if we could find a process. Todd and I talked, and Todd's like, well, I don't know that my guys can remember which one has invited us on and which one hasn't, okay? Understand that. But I'm not convincing that, I mean, I asked Todd, how many problems we got? We got 2. We got Walmart, we got Target. Okay, well, I think they can probably keep track of that. If it starts becoming cumbersome, then maybe we need to revisit it. And I know that, this will be a board decision, but at this point, I won't support it until I see that the business owner is part of the solution. That's all I have.
All right, anyone else? Alderman Steuben.
So I kind of took it as, and maybe I was wrong, that this would basically be enforced if the, business called and complained about there's an issue, or would this be just if the officers were driving?
No, it would even be if we just observed it. That's what I said. It just gives us another tool. It's not something that we're going to be sitting on a parking lot just watching for.
Mm-hmm.
It just gives us a tool if we have this type of, action going on.
Okay.
The downside with, like I told Alderman Ross with our discussion on being invited on, that could change with if you have new management come on and it doesn't get relayed to us or relayed to them. That's also another issue that could convolute things.
Anyone else? Comments or questions? Alderman Ross.
I have a follow-up if anybody else has anything. So a couple of things. First of all, management changes at Target. The owners are still out there. And the agents of Target, I assume, I work for a large corporation too, can speak usually at one time, and it doesn't matter if there's management changes. I don't know if that's how your all's work, but I know that that's how the corporation I work for did. Secondly, I'll be quite honest with you, as a business owner or manager, if somebody's going to be writing tickets on my parking lot, I'd like to know about that. I'm not sure I want tickets being written on my parking lot unless it's compelling and for my customers, okay? So I think we need to keep that in mind too as we move forward.
All right. Anyone else? All right. Thank you very much. All right, last item for discussion.
All right, so I think we need to give the chief a little more direction here,
All right, well,
so that he doesn't come back with an ordinance and we end up, squabble squabble. Richard basically says if I can paraphrase, Richard kind of supports this, but we'd have to put some wording in the ordinance that says only if you have permission from the owner. Is that fair to say, Richard?
That's a good paraphrase, Kevin.
Okay. I don't think I agree with that. I don't think that we need to get the permission, but I haven't thought it all the way through and because what about the little parking lot? I don't know, but I just don't think we've given the chief direction like we need to yet.
well, this is, right now, it's up for discussion, so we can talk as long as we want about it. So, Alderman Becker.
I support as the chief has proposed.
Well, I don't think we're voting on it.
No, we're not voting, just trying to give him.
Right, I'm just saying, at this point in time, we just wanted feedback from everybody here, giving them some ideas how to make the ordinance change, and then at that point, we can do the first reading, second reading, and so forth. But if anybody else, positive, negative?
I would think at this point, I support what is there, to this point, what the chief's presented. I have some business people that I will make contact with, what Alderman Ross is mentioning, and just kind of, I'm leaving myself a way out there.
And we're not there yet, but this is why Alderman Morose.
Well, and I concur where Alderman Ross is coming from, and being a previous business owner and have had some altercations on my property in the past. If a business owner has contacted the police, I mean, that tells me that they want them to come. So that's okay, then go for it. But to just come on the property and all of a sudden I'm looking out and I see what's going on, but I don't know why or what happened. I just think that it would be better if it's worded that there's some verbiage, whether you say permission or whatever, or that they have been summoned by the business owner or whoever is in charge, the security for the business, to call the police.
If you go down that road of who it is that called, that puts
Alderman Rucker, yes.
That puts a burden onto dispatch.
Yes.
That I think is hard, and then all of a sudden you're in court, and it's like, well, that was my manager, or that was the assistant manager, and the assistant manager didn't have that. We got to be careful if we put that way. If we're going to go down the path that Alderman Ross and or Alderman Ross specifically is talking about, we're going to have a signed document. We're going to have that to be on the safe side. We can't go by just who called us.
Well, then the business owner or whoever's in charge that night or day, then when there's a police report that he's writing up, then have that business person or whoever.
We have to sign this ahead of
Okay,
time.
wait, we need, all right, let's raise hands, please. Chief?
Right now, a business owner can sign a complaint for careless and imprudent. We take that report, we forward all the information to the prosecutor, and Ed decides whether he's going to actually file the charges. The downside to that is the business owner has to be able to identify the driver of the vehicle to say that X was driving the vehicle at the time the offense actually occurred. Now, whether they can do that from 50 yards away across the parking lot or
that's
not,
tough.
where if we witness it, we're going to stop that car right then, and we're going to have the person that was operating the vehicle versus that complaint. That's another issue that you could have. If you call us and say they were doing it, by the time we stop it, not to say that it happens all the time, but we do have people that switch drivers and right after an accident occurred. So,
Well, we're at discussion right now, and I'll put in my 2 cents worth because I do own a business here. And I have no problem if police are driving down the street and they see somebody doing donuts in my parking lot. I have no problem with police pulling over and giving them a citation. So that's my 2 cents worth. This is for discussion, so Alderman Schuman.
One more thing. Just thinking also, because this would also extend to the hours that the businesses are closed. Some of these businesses might not realize what is going on after hours, and I'm sure some of them, at least, would appreciate if an officer saw some people gathering doing donuts in their parking lot at 3 a.m. They wouldn't be able to complain about that. However, they would want somebody to do something about that because they're not there to see it, but could have the damages happen and not know until in the morning. So, I mean, that's one other thing to think about too. This would give them some teeth for after hours of the businesses as well.
Good point.
Yep. And if we need to give more discussion, my suggestion would be maybe go back, write up something, send an email to see if we can't come to some sort of first reading. And if you have other discussion, let's do it now. Alderman Ross.
Just one other scenario, I brought it up to Todd. Let's say that I'm a business owner of a business that's open, 6 days a week but closed on Saturday. Example, Precision Auto, for example, okay? And for whatever reason, I like go-karts or things like that, and I want to go out on Sunday in my parking lot and cut some cookies, and the police officer's driving down the street, and he can write me a ticket, okay? I don't know that that's what I want to happen. Now, I realize that's the what if, and I hate playing the what if game, okay? But at the same time, we need to be cautious here because I just feel that there is some ways to make sure that we have buy-in on both sides, and I think we should explore that. I'll leave it at that.
Anyone else? Anyone else? All right, thank you. All right, last item for discussion. Antioch Water and Sewer Improvements. Mr. Welty, please.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the board. Antioch Water and Sewer improvements are budgeted in the water and sewer funds this year. One typo in my notes, it's budgeted at $170,000 in water and actually $200,000 in sewer. I said $170,000 in both funds. That's incorrect. I want to point that out. Cochran Engineering had already started the survey work on this project, so that's underway. It's probably near completion at this point. There are 6 homes on Antioch. 2 of them are outside the city limits, and 4 of them are inside the city limits. After 2 attempts, we have not been able to get any communication back from the 2 that are outside city limits at all. 3 of the 4 that are inside city limits have provided direction to us that they are not interested in the service. This kind of comes as a surprise to us. When we budgeted this project, we were under the impression from past conversations that pretty much everyone was interested in the service. So this has kind of made us take a step back. At this point, I would like to get some additional direction from the board on exactly how we move forward. Obviously, if we put water and sewer down Antioch, we cannot make these customers hooked to water unless there's something significantly wrong with their well. But if we put sewer down that road, they'll be within 300 foot of the sewer line, and by city ordinance, they'll be required to connect to city sewer. So I'm not sure that the board really wants us to force the issue here, but there's really three options as I see them, and if the board has any other options beyond the three that I'm listing here, please let me know. We could, as I said, we could go ahead and install the water and sewer as planned. The residents that are in city limits would be required to connect to city sewer. The water line would be there, and eventually, as their wells go bad, then they would be required to connect to the water. The one issue with this is that if they don't want it, it's probably going to be pretty hard for us to get the easements necessary to put the infrastructure in place. Furthermore, we only own about a third of the road, so that complicates it even more if the residents are not interested. Option two, I could work with Cochran, I could work with Dave, we could look at some of the other unsewered areas that we have, in our city. There's about 7 or 8 of those. Some of them range from 1 home up to 10 homes. And if the board directs us, we're happy to do that. The problem with that is our focus has been on Antioch, so we haven't talked to anybody else in any of these other areas. We don't know whether they're interested in connecting or not. And so that also presents a problem. If we could get the direction to move to another area and then find out that the people in that area aren't interested at this time either. Option number 3 would be to abandon the project in 2022 and then use the savings to offset some of the project cost issues that we've had, or as Gina put in her notes, just roll those funds over into the next budget. So I've kind of went through those 3 options there. I do have a lot more notes here that I'm not going to necessarily go through. Obviously, we would recommend option number 3, but I do want to make it clear to the board. Myself and Dave and Cochran, we're very interested in working through this list and getting the rest of these done if the citizens are interested in it. So we're motivated to go through these and do these projects 1 or 2 a year moving forward, make no mistake. And Dave, or some of Dave's staff, and I do plan to go out to Antioch sometime this summer and talk to these people and find out what are the reasons beyond what they said in the letter for them to not be interested in this, and try and figure out if there's a way that we can circle back to this project, assuming the board agrees with my recommendation, and possibly do it, a couple years down the road. At the same time, we're going to be taking a close look at the map that I've created that kind of prioritizes these different sections in the city. And this summer, we're going to go out to the next section that we feel is the priority, and we're going to get some consensus from those residents ahead of the budget, so that when we go into this next budget season and we pick this next one, Creve Coeur is the most obvious one. I'm not going to say for sure that's the one we were going to do, but that is the one that is kind of next on our list. And we're going to go to those residents, and we're going to just make sure this summer that they are truly interested in this, so that if we go into that particular area, whether it's Creve Cove or another area, that they're interested and they want the service, so that we don't run into this problem again. I will give Dave an opportunity. Dave, is there anything else you want to add, or think I summed it up pretty good? All right, so open for discussion. That's pretty much all I have.
All right, comments or questions from the board? Alderman Rucker.
You said 3 of the 4. Did the 4th person not return the message back, or they wanted to hook up, or what was the situation with the 4th?
No response from the 4th.
All right, when you say no response, Mike, are we sending out certified letters? Are we calling them on the phone? Are we knocking on the door? What do we have? Here's where I'm going with this. I'm of the mindset that we move on, but I want to have something in place so that a year from now, when 3 of the 4 homeowners come here and complain that they don't have water and sewer. And we have something that we can say, wait a second, we contacted you, you know, you weren't the owner then, but the previous owner, this is, you know, I want something to cover our backside to make sure that we have shown that we've done our due diligence. That's what I'm looking for.
So the way we've been handling this project and similar projects is we send a letter to the homeowner, and the letter has like check boxes on it. Yes, I want city water. Yes, I want city sewer. Yes, I'm willing to grant an easement for this work. Or no, I'm not interested in these services. 3 of the 4 were returned to us, and we have in our files is no, we do not want the service. So I think that would address your concern.
Yeah, I want to make sure we have that available to us so that if they come back, or especially what I see is they come back and they were complaining and it's like, well, I didn't own the home then. Well, the person that did own the home at that point said no, and that's why we have moved on. I just want something there because I think a lot of us figured that there were people over there ready and willing to go, and to see this happen kind of is shocking. But and I'm in favor of item number 3, moving to number 3 to scrap it, move on, and that's my 2 cents.
All right, any other comments or questions? Alderman Becker.
So we don't know why these 3 people have apparently changed their minds from previous conversations with them?
No.
Okay. Yeah, I'm in favor of number 3. Move on, regroup, figure out the next one. But before we go doing engineering estimates, I would want to poll or survey everybody that we're talking about possibly running service to make sure everybody's on board.
Yes, sir.
All right. Anyone else? Alderman Ross.
So, given our expenditures and budgeting situation in sewer, I believe that at this point we should move on. But I say that with a caveat, and that is that I believe we should have sewer in Osage Beach, period. And to say that we should move on, and I don't have a problem moving on to somebody that wants it especially, but if nobody wants it, I still think we need to finish out the system, okay? Somebody just made a point about the next person that owns it. I think that was you, Kevin, okay? I'm still looking for the day. I remember, I'll never forget, 2005, Nadine McQueen, Phyllis knows her. She's gone now, lived across the cove from me, and I walked over to her house and she brought a paper out from like 1984. Osage Beach is getting sewer. She still didn't have it, okay? Now I realize she wanted it compared to these people that don't want it, but sooner or later we need to finish this system. And, you know, what I found interesting, somewhere in the notes or maybe a conversation, they all want a road, but they don't want water and sewer, okay? I find that interesting. That'd be nice too. They don't want to pay a sewer bill. I get that. But wait till the day that their septic system fails. And it'll be a good while before they get. And so while I do think that we should move on right now, mainly in my mind because of budgeting concerns, or if there's people that want it more and there isn't usually significant difference in costs or opportunities for connections, because there's some connections out there across the road on the other side of Antioch that is not in. There's some blank ground out there that would pretty easy to develop and build some houses on. It wouldn't surprise me some people wouldn't mind to hook up, okay? But until it's there, it ain't gonna matter. By the way, out-of-state or out-of-city rates are twice as high as in-city rates. So in some ways, that model helps. And so again, I'm okay with moving on past this, but I don't want to, at least my personal, I don't want to say, well, if they don't want it, we're just not going to do it and forget about it.
Oh, no.
Right. The system needs. I hope everybody agrees the system needs to be built out. And if we go through all this and they all say no, well, guess what? Sooner or later, we're going to pick you and you're going to get it. So, assuming that funding's available, that's all I have.
All right. Anyone else? All right. Thank you, Mike. All right. Next, we're going to move on to communications. We're going to start with the staff again. Gina Woods.
Yes. I didn't even write any notes, so I'm just off the cuff tonight. I did send you a lengthy email about the MML conference in September. I know it seems early, we have time, but if I start reminding you now, then you might start looking at your calendars. I have heard from 2 of you already, so thank you. Anyway, I'll be bugging you between now and I'd like to have everybody registered by mid-June. I know since it's here, we're kind of like the host city since it's at Margaritaville. I do have the pleasure to work with Emily to help organize a few of those events, so I know I'll be coming to the mayor to ask him for some spots. And so anyway, you'll hear more about that because we would like to host our city and do some things that's allowable within what MML has planned. So that's exciting, and it gives opportunity for several of our staff members to attend if there's certain classes that pertain to them and their budget supported accordingly, because it does save us money because we don't have the travel and the hotels and stuff. So that's coming up. Other than that, the next big thing, we have several special meetings coming up, so the calendar is getting busy, and you're probably going to see a lot of notices there. Just don't forget about your strategic planning session all day June 8th. So you'll be hearing more from me on the agenda and back up things and kind of a summary of what we all heard from everybody on Monday. So on that, that's all I have.
All right. Thank you. Mike Welty.
Well, I just want to point out to the board, and Legina's not here anymore, but I think we're missing a huge marketing opportunity here. Cubs Radio. Let's expand beyond Missouri. Come on, folks.
Should we vote on that, Mike?
No. I'm just saying. Other than that, I hope everybody has a great Memorial Day weekend.
All right. Brenda, would you like to say anything for Tara?
Nothing at this
All
time.
right. Well, nice to see you here tonight. I know you're excited about it. Carrie Bell, City Treasurer.
No report this evening.
All right. All right. Ed Rucker, City Attorney.
Just a reminder that on Monday at 6 o'clock, we'll do the TIF 101 training. This is the first step with the TIF Commission and the board to refamiliarize yourself with this. We go through this every 4 or 5 years when we get an application. We try to do one night that's basically how the system works and how these tools work without reference to a particular applicant or a particular plan. And so that'll be the subject for Monday night.
All right. Thank you. Chief Davis?
Just with this being National Police Week, we're very supportive of our community is very supportive of us. Walmart brought in food Tuesday and Thursday for the road officers and everyone. Carolyn and Jim Danvernroy brought in pizza the day before. It's kind of hard to keep us in good shape with all the food. But we are supported by the community, and we really appreciate it.
That's excellent. Thank you. All right. Carrie Patterson.
I have nothing. Thank you.
All right. Cindy Lake?
I have nothing, thank you.
Kevin Crooks?
Nothing for the board, sir.
Michael?
Just one thing, Alderman Ross, you asked me a question to retrieve some policy parameter percentages. Just letting you know, I reached out to / and as soon as I have them, I'll send them to everybody at the board. That's all.
That'd be great.
Good evening.
All right. Ties gone. For those that don't know, new Parks Manager, Eric Gregory. Nice to have you aboard.
Yes, sir.
Do you have any comments?
Second week on the job, I'm still here. League season. So happy to be here. Can't say enough about the park staff. They're doing a great job maintaining. I've worked several Little League games. We get lots of compliments. So again, very happy to be here.
Very good. Thank you. All right. Cochran Engineering, Dave Van Leer.
Contractor is on site down at Autumn Lane. So that project's been a while in the making, but they are on site. That should be about a 2-month project, so we'll get to mid-July after that project wrapped up.
All right. Thank you. All right. Alderman Rucker.
Yes. I would just like to state for the record, especially for those folks that are out there that aren't sitting in the chambers here, that the city, to my understanding, for the last 15 years that I've been on the board and 25 years I've lived in the city, has never charged a property tax. So I don't know where that information is out there, but I just wanted to let it be known that the city doesn't charge a property tax. Do we think there's places that we want to get revenue from or cut expenses? We have ongoingly had that discussion. This board and staff is always looking at spending the taxpayers' dollars to the best that we can and getting the most we can out of it. And yes, we've talked about a number of different measures. And we probably have talked about property taxes, but we've always said no, and we haven't charged it, and we aren't charging it. So I just wanted to let my opinion and feelings be known on that. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. All right, Alderman Schuman, please.
I have nothing.
Alderman Becker.
Just happy Memorial Day. Welcome all the visitors in town.
Good. Alderman Rose.
Yes, I would like to personally, on behalf of the board, thank the staff. I thought everyone did their utmost effort in our strategy planning session, and it was a long night for sure for everybody, but I really appreciate it, and I know we as board members did too, for all of the effort and time that you all put in. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Ross.
So I have a couple of quick ones. First of all, congratulate Gina for 20 years. I hope you get another week of vacation out of that, because I did.
Don't, but
You
you can
don't?
change that.
Well, you know, I don't know, I don't know the vacation policy, but I know when I made 20 years, I got an extra week, and it was
Cindy,
awesome.
what's going on? Yeah.
And then, of course, Memorial Day weekend, hope everybody has a fun, safe, and a great weekend. That's all I have.
All right. And I was going to say the same thing. Congratulations, Gina.
Thank you.
And welcome aboard, Greg. So appreciate it. Happy Memorial Day. Have a good, safe time out there. Get out and spend some money at the businesses here in Osage Beach. So entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Alderman Rucker, we have a second.
Second.
Alderman Rose, meeting adjourned. Thank you so much, folks.